All right, welcome everybody. It is the AEW Dynamite recap for Wednesday, February the 17th. Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, the barbed wire, exploding barbed wire death match announced for Revolution. Let's recap this Dynamite. Dynamite, baby. Light the fuse, break the rules, Dynamite. And tonight with me, my main man, professional wrestler extraordinaire, my man and yours, Johnny North in the house. Yeah, usually we're here only Friday nights for Wrestling Uncensored. We recap SmackDown and do the damn thing, but tonight, we've got a new format here on the Ringside Report Network. Those of you that have been paying attention, those of you that have been following along, becoming members, like my man Angelo Contagonis has become a member. I see you, Angelo. What's up, Angelo? We're here after Raw. We're here after Dynamite. We're here after SmackDown. We're here after every WWE pay-per-view. We'll be here again Friday night together after SmackDown. We'll be here again Sunday night together after the Elimination Chamber. And, of course, my friends and I, Freddie and AJ, we're here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. to talk mixed martial arts. We were here for the UFC on Saturday night. We're here for you for the UFC. We're here for you for the WWE. And we're here for you for AEW. Johnny North, AEW Dynamite went down tonight. I want to go top to bottom on the show, but I think we need to start at the bottom and work our way back because the main event storyline, not really the match. Like, the match was, whatever. Jon Moxley, Lance Archer, and Rey Fenix beat Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and The Blade. Moxley getting the pinfall on Eddie Kingston after hitting the Paradigm Shift DDT. Not really a DDT, kind of a suplex, right? I mean, he didn't drop him on his head. He had him in the double unders, and he flipped him over and dropped him on his back. Not really a DDT, but whatever. Jon Moxley got the win. The Good Brothers show up. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are Kenny Omega's goons. They beat up Moxley after the match. Moxley, of course, the former AEW champion. He wants revenge from Kenny for stealing the title from him weeks ago. Kenny comes out and he says, I have Tony Khan's Valentine's Day present. It's a rematch contract for the title with you, Jon Moxley, but I am going to add my own stipulation for this because you won't go away. You won't stay down. You won't leave me alone. So I'm going to put a stipulation into this that will put you down for good, that will keep you off my back. It will be an exploding barbed wire death match on March 7th at AEW Revolution for the AEW World Championship. Their World Championship will be decided in an exploding barbed wire death match. You can hear Jim Cornette now, can't you? Crying in the distance. You hear that, Johnny? You hear that? Those are the tears of Cornette. Pretty funny. I like it. I think it's something we've never seen before. In the WWE, you got to do something different for AEW. They're going extreme. They're going way extreme. We've seen these matches take place in Japan. I haven't seen that many of them. It's not really my cup of tea. It's not something I go out and seek. It's something that I'd seen Terry Funk and Mick Foley do back in the day. And that's pretty much where it stops. I know that many people have done it many times, and there are guys like Onita and all sorts of guys that I don't know about, that I don't watch, that have done these kinds of matches. Johnny, you might be more familiar with these deathmatch-style wrestlers. I'm more of a scientific-style wrestling guy. I like, professional wrestling. I like the amateur base. I like a Kurt Angle style. This is an exploding death match that we're going to get at AEW Revolution. Johnny, first of all, are you excited for the exploding death match? Is that the type of match that you want to see for an AEW World Championship?
Well, I think for Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, I think it fits them very well because we saw them in that Lights Out match before, and they pretty much did everything extreme-wise, right? And they already went past the limits of what extreme is. They even got in a little bit of trouble, I think, with the State Athletic Commission in Maryland, I believe, if not mistaken. So I think they got fined or something for that last match they did. So they kind of had to up the ante, and like this was a perfect way to do it. Do something that's never been done before. I mean, people I think will just want to see it just because what's it going to be like? I mean, if you've seen exploding like ring matches before in the past, like for the most part, it's just a bunch of effects, pretty much. Like no one should, for the most part, get seriously injured, and I imagine they'll keep this as safe as possible. But it's going to look really cool when you just see a bunch of explosions go off, and there's going to be a bunch of dust, and you think like, what happened to everybody for a while?
Yeah, a lot of explosions. I don't really know how they're going to work the explosions. You mentioned the state of Maryland not being too happy with some of the barbed wire and stuff that they used in their match when they had it there. But as we all know, anything goes in Florida, so they will have no problems with the state of Florida and doing whatever the hell kind of hardcore death match, blood and guts type of deal that they do at Revolution. Now, I am a Kenny Omega fan. I like to see the classic Kenny. I like to see the Kenny versus Pac in an Iron Man. I like to see Kenny versus Okada. I like to see Kenny versus Hangman. I like to see traditional Kenny, classic Kenny. I'm not a big fan of the deathmatch Kenny, the trash can Kenny, the, throwing potatoes at you Kenny, all that kind of stuff. Not a big fan of that style of Kenny Omega, but it seems like he wants to do that kind of stuff. It is what it is. It's not really my cup of tea, but I am excited to see what it's going to be. The curiosity factor is there. Do I think it's going to be match of the night at Revolution? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, I imagine it might be the match people are talking about the most because it's something you've never seen before. And I imagine it's going to stand out compared to everything else on the card, which seems to be, like you say, it seems like it's just going to be extreme night, start to finish.
Is it? I don't know. You got Jericho and MJF against the Bucks. That could be a real match, I guess. What else is on this Revolution card? You have Matt Hardy versus Hangman Page. They set that up tonight. We'll get to that. We'll talk about Revolution later on. It's not Revolution preview time, but Kenny and Moxley in an exploding barbed wire match. It's different. It's different. I'll give them that. I don't know. I'm surprised to see Kenny and Moxley do the rematch so soon. I was not expecting these two guys to get into the ring together for at least another few months. When did Kenny beat him for the belt? January?
It was like the first week of December.
Was it December?
It was. The first week of December.
It doesn't feel like that long, And you do the rematch and what? Kenny wins? So then Moxley's no longer credible as a world title contender. If you keep Moxley out of the title picture and don't have him lose to Kenny again, then you could kind of drag it out and you do the match down the road and it's a big match. But here it's just like, okay, well, that's it for Moxley. I guess that's his run on top, right? Because he's not going to win.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it at all. But I figured you had more gas in the tank here with the Jon Moxley main eventer run. They could bring him back down the road, but this definitely shoots him back down the ladder, and it'll take some time to bring him back. One loss when you get screwed out of the title, you could live with that, being badass Jon Moxley, leaving Kenny running scared, having your little things every now and then, but maybe enter a program with somebody else. But no, re-enter the program with Kenny, do this crazy death match at Revolution. I mean, I've seen barbed wire in wrestling, but exploding barbed wire is not something you see very often. Pretty much only in Japan. I guess ECW did it, right? Is the last North American
not exploding.
They didn't do exploding barbed wire in ECW? The C4, they didn't do that?
No.
Huh. So, no major televised wrestling company in North America has done an exploding barbed wire match on pay-per-view, right? This has never been done.
That's the selling point. And I think it works because, for a pay-per-view, you got to make it stand out. And I think it does for that. The fact that you're giving the first time ever in the U.S. exploding barbed wire match. I think people will just see, just for the curiosity, what's it going to be like.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what they're going to do. But, yeah, I don't know. This pay-per-view's looking bad. It's looking like it might be an awful pay-per-view. I got to tell you. Kenny Omega and Moxley in an exploding barbed wire death match for the AEW World title. That's your main event. It's coming up on March 7th, which is soon, by the way, because February is real short, right? So there's 2 more episodes of Dynamite they got to fit in here before their pay-per-view. They got the big Dynamite on March 3rd with Shaq and Tully Blanchard coming back to wrestle for some reason. So this is your pay-per-view. This is the build. We have 6 matches on this thing. Kenny and Moxley is one of them. Then you have, they threw this in out of nowhere tonight, the Face of the Revolution ladder match. The winner of this multi-man ladder match gets an AEW TNT title shot at Darby Allin. So Cody's in this, of course. Did he have to qualify? No. Scorpio Sky's in this because, like, they decide to push Scorpio Sky as a single star every now and then when it's kind of useful for them to use him, but, like, nobody believes in Scorpio Sky. Maybe to win the TNT title, I guess. Who cares? And then Penta El Zero Miedo Pentagon is apparently in this match, even though he's had visa issues. He wasn't on Dynamite tonight. He wasn't on Dynamite last week. He hasn't been on Dynamite for, like, at least a month. His brother Ray Phoenix is there, but Penta's not there. Then they just throw him in this ladder match that, like, has had no build, right? Like, why are they doing this? And why is Cody in it? It's just filler.
Well, Cody has that big match with Shaq. They couldn't do that at the pay-per-view. They have to do it on Dynamite. So that's it. They're just going to put a bunch of people in a ladder match, and people will get interested because it's a ladder match.
So Cody has a big match with Shaq on the Dynamite. So just throw him in another big match on pay-per-view because it's Cody? I mean, I get it.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, what are you going to fill it with instead? Scorpio Sky, you know? He's already in it. That's where you're at with that match. And then you got Hangman versus Matt Hardy, with the winner receiving all of the losers' 2021 first quarter earnings. Okay. Hikaru Shida is going to defend her title against the winner of this tournament they have going on. So that's going to happen. And then it's going to be, of course, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Brian Cage, the power bomber of death, versus Darby Allin and Sting. If Sting is still alive after what we saw tonight. Also, Darby Allin got dragged from a pickup truck last week, and we haven't heard from him since, so maybe he's dead too. I think Team Taz killed their opponents for the street fight at Revolution. And then you have the Bucks, Matt and Nick, against Chris Jericho and MJF for the AEW Tag Team Championship. So tonight on Dynamite, we open the show with Matt Hardy and Hangman beating TH2. TH2 is, of course, Jack Evans and the other guy. And Helico. Yeah. Now, you said this match was good on your Twitter, at North Genesis. And I wanted to dispute that on your Twitter, but I said, oh, wait, we'll talk. And here we are. What do you mean that match was good? That match was terrible. TH2 doing all sorts of, like, flippy tag team moves that they didn't seem in position for half the time. They do, like, I give you a move, you give me a move. Nobody's selling anything. They do. Jack Evans did that Phoenix splash that hit nobody, and then he kind of landed on his feet and tried to hit Matt Hardy with it. Oh, that match was ugly. And then they after they botched the Phoenix splash, they tried to, like, set up this other flippy spot, and it took them forever to do it, and Matt Hardy had to continue selling a botched splash that came nowhere near hitting him. What exactly did you like about that match? Now, every time Jack Evans is brought up, you light up. You seem to like Jack Evans for some reason. And, like, when he's on, he's, pretty good. When he's off, he was off tonight, man. That whole match was off. Hangman kind of pulled it together, but Matt Hardy did not have good chemistry with those guys. That did not look good. Ugh.
Well, you kind of said it right there. Hangman looked fantastic out there. Like, it seemed like everything he did was, like, golden.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, TH2, like, they're off on a little bit on some of their moves, but I thought JR compensated well by telling a very good story. Like, JR was really good tonight. I know he kind of messed up the whole Kenny thing, calling him WWE champion, but besides that, like, it seemed like he was really engaged in the action and really good at telling the story that you kind of got sucked into the match. Even if it wasn't that good, the fact that they're telling a good story, like, I could just believe in everything that's happening.
They were telling a good story? Matt Hardy and Hangman were trying to. I mean, TH2. I don't know, man. Those guys do not make AEW look good. For the people that say AEW is like a knockoff wrestling brand and, it's just kind of shitty wrestling, when you see TH2, two guys that look like that, they don't look particularly, wrestlery, and they do all sorts of shit that looks awful and fake and just, off. They miss a lot. They don't make the brand look good. They bring AEW down. I hate to say it, but, And Douglas Hepburn on the chat, he's a member, he knows. He says JR had to do his best to bail the misses. Shout out to Derek John in the chat as well. Angelo, Doug Hepburn. Thank you for being members. We appreciate you. But, when commentary has to bail out the wrestlers, not good. I don't know why you said that was a good match. I thought that was probably the worst match on the card. Not a great card tonight, but that was the worst match on it. Do you disagree?
Well, I disagree. I thought the women's match, fantastic. FTR's match, fantastic. I mean, maybe the main event was kind of just a spot fest, but...
Yeah. No, I'm saying the opener was the worst match on the card. I didn't think it was the best episode of Dynamite. We had some good matches. Overall, the show was, it was okay. Wasn't my favorite Dynamite ever, but it was, some decent matches. But the opener I thought was the worst one. And usually AEW opens hot.
Again, I was interested in the story. I like the whole progression with Hangman and Matt Hardy. And, JR sold the story very well. So that's all I needed. It wasn't a long match.
They did more of that after the show, or after the match, though. It was longer than it needed to be, John. Not a long match. It was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. Matt Hardy and Hangman cut the promo after the match. Matt talking about Hangman giving him 30% of all his money because he signed that contract last week. Hangman, of course, had a different contract that he had in his pocket, and Hangman says a good friend of him told him to always keep an extra set of papers rolled up in your jacket. Of course, a tribute to Brody Lee. He always had the papers. Did you get that, John? You caught that, right? The Brody line?
Yeah, but, okay.
Yeah, that's Dark nice. Order. Anyways, so Hangman's like, yeah, I had another contract. The Jacksonville Jaguars mascot showed up to bring the contract to Hangman, and it's a contract for the match at Revolution. And it's a match, Hangman versus Matt Hardy. And if Matt loses, Hangman gets 100% of all of Matt's earnings for the first quarter of 2021. And Matt looks a little bit shocked by this, but he agrees. But he says Hangman will have to give up all of his earnings if Matt Hardy wins. All of his earnings for the first quarter of 2021. I don't know why they couldn't just say your pay for January, February, and March, but whatever. They had to make it seem fancy because it's big money Matt Hardy, right? The first quarter of 2021. Did you like that talk? What?
Because Matt Hardy's getting the earnings of Private Party, right? So that means Hangman would get their earnings now instead.
Okay. But what was all that first quarter talk? What are we watching? Financial planning TV? Come on.
First quarter is a big thing, I suppose. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you tell me first quarter. Just say I get 3 months pay. Just say that quarter. It's 3 months. Be simple. It's wrestling. Dumb it down for me. Then the mascot attacked Hangman and revealed himself to be Isaiah Cassidy. Now, I'm trying to figure out if all of this made sense. So Hangman thinks he's setting up Matt Hardy, and he has communicated with the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot to bring him a contract that he has bamboozled Matt Hardy into signing. So you would think that at some point, Hangman has communicated with this mascot. But the mascot is Isaiah Cassidy. So was Hangman having a conversation backstage with the mascot and the mascot wasn't talking? He was just kind of like, mascot talking, miming? What exactly happened? Because the mascot double-crossed Hangman and attacked him, and Hangman didn't know it was Isaiah Cassidy? How did this all work? I don't think that made sense. Right? Because if Hangman is like, I'm going to screw Matt Hardy, here's this contract, Jacksonville Jaguars mascot, you come out and bring it to me. Right? Wasn't that the setup?
Well, the way I looked at it was Matt Hardy knew he got screwed over because, like most people, like Jericho said, like he saw the tape, and he realized he got screwed over. So then he made sure he screwed him over in the end.
Double screw job. But so Matt Hardy, did they beat up the original mascot and put Isaiah Cassidy in the costume when they figured out Hangman's plan? Like, when did they realize that Hangman had this plan with the mascot to bring out the phony contract that Matt Hardy knew about? Like, Matt Hardy knowing about the contract, that's fine. But how did Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy find out about the mascot plan with Hangman?
You're thinking way too much that they haven't done, so there's no point even going that far.
I found a hole in this story. It doesn't make sense. So this is what happened, all right? This is what actually happened because I'm going to try and make sense of it for AEW. They could show this on BTE, make it very easy. Hangman's talking to somebody in a mascot costume. It doesn't matter who it is. And then, the guy puts the mascot costume head on. Hangman thinks it's all good. Matt Hardy's around the corner. He hears the whole thing. Him and Isaiah Cassidy beat up the mascot guy. They put the suit on Isaiah Cassidy. Bada bing, bada boom. Everything makes sense. But they didn't explain that. They didn't do that. And that's why it made no sense that Isaiah Cassidy was in the suit of the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot because Hangman was in cahoots with him at first. So, anyways. So Isaiah Cassidy attacks Hangman. By the way, where's Mark Quinn? Aren't they a tag team?
Maybe he's caught in that winter storm they were talking about in Texas. Who knows?
Aren't they from, like, Jersey?
Maybe he was doing a show in Texas. Like, for whatever reason, a lot of guys got stuck in Texas. So,
is that where Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs were?
I'm pretty sure that's where Ricky Starks was. I'm not sure about Hobbs. But I guess so.
That was weird, the Team Taz thing. We'll get to that. I think Sting's dead. Anyway, so Isaiah Cassidy beats up Hangman, and Matt Hardy offers TH2 $3,700 to join in on the Hangman beatdown, and they join in. They all beat down on Hangman, but the Dark Order, Johnny Hungy, as JR called him, when Johnny Hungy and the Dark Order hit the ring, you could hear the excitement in JR's voice. That's Johnny Hungy! It's like Stone Cold's coming out in 98, Johnny Hungy, Johnny Hungy, Johnny Hungy, by God! He's stomping a mud hole and walking it dry.
He's excited, but not that excited, but okay.
He should get Stone Cold excited about Johnny Hungy. Johnny Hungy! JR used to get really hyped for when Stone Cold came out. Yeah, he was into it, Not Stone Cold into it, but definitely into Johnny Hungy and the Dark Order making the save for Hangman. I like that 5 faced off with Matt Hardy at one point, because 5, I know you don't watch Being the Elite, John, so you don't really know, but 5, Alan Angels, whatever his name is, he's 5. Shut up, 5. Nobody likes 5 in the Dark Order. He's kind of the outcast of the group. They're always shitting on him. They're always making fun of him. They don't like him. But 5... they had a Valentine's Day episode a couple of weeks ago, and all of the Dark Order guys, they made Valentines, of course, for Wardlow, because they think Wardlow's super handsome and ripped, and, like, who doesn't, right? But 5 didn't give his Valentine for Wardlow. He had a Valentine for Hangman, and he's still trying to get Hangman to come back into the Dark Order, and he hasn't given up hope that, Hangman may one day join the Dark Order and maybe even lead the Dark Order. And so 5 facing off with Matt Hardy, there was a moment there. Matt Hardy took him out, but then Hangman went for the buckshot lariat. Matt Hardy ducked it, escaped the ring. And then Hangman had a moment there with all the Dark Order kind of facing off with them. And he was liking it. He was smiling. So it seems like they're not done. The Dark Order and Hangman are not finished. Maybe Hangman will join after all. What'd you think?
I think that's a nice maybe. I think what was great was the -1 there. That was nice. They put him on TV again. That was a nice little touch, but that was about it.
-1 is my favorite rookie in professional wrestling. I would rather watch -1 than Dominic Mysterio or Bad Bunny even, or who are the other rookies in wrestling that are dog shit? There's a lot of bad wrestlers these days, people that just don't know what they're doing. -1 is not one of those guys. That kid is a natural. What is he, 9? It's ridiculous. He is the best color commentator in the business. He is way better than Corey Graves. Way better. -1's commentary on AEW Dark is fantastic. He's a natural. That kid, I can see why they gave him a contract. Even if Brody wasn't his dad, I'd give him a contract. That kid's got talent. I'm telling you. He's got personality. He gets the wrestling business. His commentary skills for a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old or, a 30-year-old. Tremendous. That kid's going somewhere. I like -1. Bring him out as much as possible. The Dark Order's a babyface group. It endears you to the group. And it's not like he's there just as a charity case. He actually enhances the product. And I can't believe that I'm telling you a 9-year-old kid is enhancing commentary, but when you listen to enough Excalibur and Taz, a little -1 sprinkled in there ain't so bad. And you hear a lot of the other wrestlers showing up on commentary to do a little guest spot. I heard Ricky Starks on commentary. Ricky Starks is terrible compared to -1. Terrible. Everybody who does a guest spot on commentary except Chris Jericho sucks next to -1. I'm not wrong about that, Johnny. He's good, right?
Well, I thought Cody was pretty good on commentary tonight.
-1 I thought is better. Cody, what did he say? What did he say?
I think he just offered a lot more into the wrestling match. He kind of talked more about Mike Sydal because we don't really know much about him. So he added a little bit more of the history.
I don't want to know any more about him. I'm good. Is he his real brother?
I was interested.
Matt Sydal?
Yeah, it's his real brother. Yeah.
I don't know. After that, whatever moonsault he tried to do on Cash Wheeler that almost took out his face. You see Cash checking his nose and his teeth to see if they were still there. Botch. A lot of botches tonight.
It wasn't a botch. It was just, it was a little
rough. It was a botch. But, it was a terrible dive off the top. He tried to do a moonsault thing. Mike Sydal. Not Matt Sydal. Not Evan Bourne. His brother. Brother Bourne. He didn't look too good tonight.
It's not his name, but...
Doesn't matter what his name is.
I thought that match was actually pretty good, though. I thought FTR... Man, they showed again tonight, how there's just an amazing tag team. They're so fluent, and, they're going up against a different kind of style, and they still make it look amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. The Sydal brothers had a couple moments there. The match was okay, but that Mike Sydal, he looked a little slow. I don't know. He didn't look... he looked like the Jannetty of the team. Let's just say that. The botch dive could have really hurt Cash there. That was bad. The match was okay. FTR beat the Sydal brothers with the Shatter Machine. FTR grabbed the doctor's medical kit after the match. They looked like they were going to cut Mike Sydal's hair, but they never found the scissors. You see that? They pull the guy's hair up, And the guy's digging through the bag. He doesn't find a pair of scissors. And then the lights go out, and Jurassic Express shows up. They're in the ring. They beat up FTR and send him packing, setting up a match for 2 weeks from now. Why couldn't they just pull out why weren't the scissors readily available there? That was weird. Like, I knew what they were going for, but they didn't quite get there. Right? The lights went out a little too early.
It didn't matter. I mean, and maybe it's better that it went out, because if they couldn't find it, just cut to the action anyways, because we're not cutting the hair anyways. So, yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Always.
Yeah.
There was the Serena wrestled Rio. That was a good match. That was the second match of the night.
Was it? Where are we in this
Pretty
thing?
sure it was.
Well, hold on.
At the beginning.
Inner Circle did a promo. Proud and Powerful talk about their tag title shot. MJF talked about Sammy being stupid for knowing there was a camera there. You know, he's like, yeah, Sammy, you're stupid. The camera was there last week. Well, what do you think I was trying to do? And then Douglas Hepburn on the chat, he says, I think MJF watches you guys. He echoed everything you guys said about why Sammy was pissed about being recorded. Exactly. Oh, Angelo says they did pull the scissors out before the lights went out. I didn't notice a scissor. Patrick C. Hamilton likes the Marty Jannetty reference. I mean, if you're, that's kind of a thing in wrestling. It sucks, for Marty Jannetty, but that's just the way it is, In tag teams, a lot of the times, there's a Shawn Michaels and there's a Marty Jannetty, There's a Matt Jackson and then there's Nick Jackson. Who's the Jannetty there? It's Matt Jackson. I mean, sometimes there's no Jannetty. You know what I mean? Edge Christian. Who's a Jannetty? Well, Christian. But, he still had a way better career than Marty Jannetty. You know what I'm saying? Like, every tag team has a second guy. Like Brett and Anvil. Hart Foundation. Anvil was Marty Jannetty, but he wasn't quite Jannetty. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's like, yeah, Miz and Alex Riley. Alex Riley was the Jannetty. Big time. You know what I mean? It happens.
It happens, but sometimes you get teams that aren't like that. Arn and Tully wasn't like that.
Yeah, look at Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, well, some people will again say, Jeff over Matt, but...
Yeah, people would say Matt Hardy's the Jannetty, but, I mean, look at the career of Marty Jannetty compared to the career of Matt Hardy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But look at Heavy Machinery, okay? Tucky has been Jannetti'd by the WWE, right? Like Otis, still on TV. Tucky.
Yeah.
Tucky is the Jannetty, right?
It happens.
Sorry, Tucky. You've been Jannetti'd. I like Tucky, too. Big, he'd be good for AEW. Big, solid guy, amateur background. I'm telling you, he's not bad, Tucky. Release him, WWE. Release the man. So Inner Circle cut the promo. Jericho got mad at MJF, though, because he's like, you made Sammy do this. You kept pushing him. And this is partly your fault, but it's mostly Sammy Guevara's fault. And then Jericho cut a promo on Sammy for leaving the Inner Circle and says, Sammy, you're dead to me. So, there's a deal there with Sammy, but Sammy's not there. I figure Sammy's going to cost MJF and Jericho the tag team titles at Revolution.
Yeah,
this has got to, there's got to be a resolution at some point, right? Between Sammy and the Inner Circle. Like, it's not over. There's clearly still beef. Sammy's going to wrestle MJF one-on-one at some point. Maybe he'll wrestle Jericho one-on-one at some point. He's going to need somebody to be on his team, too. If he can't just go by himself against all of the Inner Circle. And I don't think that that guy, Fuego del Sol, is going to be enough for Sammy as backup. He's going to need a little bit more than his buddy Fuego, So I could see him helping the Bucks retain the tag team titles at Revolution. I don't know if he'll team up with the Bucks, but clearly Sammy and the Inner Circle are not done. Next up, we had Riho beating Serena Deeb. Riho's big return to American TV. She beat Serena with the pinfall. A nice pinfall reversal little move there. Solid match. Riho advanced in the tournament to face Thunder Rosa in the next round. Riho likes to do cross bodies, eh? How many cross bodies did she do in that match? 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 or 4,
Yeah,
but it's fine. I mean,
yeah,
she's small, so she's got to do that kind of stuff.
yeah. I'm just saying, it's a move that I was like, oh, crossbody, standing crossbody, top rope crossbody. Here's a crossbody here. I was like, oh, so Riho, never heard of a clothesline? Like, what's going on? But I guess with those little arms, what's a clothesline going to do? I was surprised the match. I liked the match, but I was surprised that Serena didn't get more offense in. Seemed like it was mostly Riho on offense in that match.
Well, she was selling though throughout the whole match.
Serena?
Yeah, because she has like a knee injury.
Oh, okay. She just seemed bigger, more muscular, like more athletic. I expected her to use a few more power moves on Riho to kind of ground her a little bit. Riho was just bouncing around there, kept hitting Serena, and Serena really didn't have much of an answer. Just Serena's been built so strong over the past several months on AEW TV, rarely losing, and now when she does lose, it's like a one-sided victory for Riho. Serena didn't seem in the match at all, at any point. I was a little bit surprised with the amount of offense that Riho got and how little offense Serena got. And then Riho got the win. After Riho kept beating up Serena all match, I was like, oh, well, maybe Serena's going to turn around and beat Riho. But no. She just kind of beat her down, pinned her. All right. Pushing Riho pretty hard. Always have.
Well, again, this is her first match back. I mean, she hasn't wrestled in, almost a year, so they kind of had to push her strong. But I also didn't see it that way. I felt that Serena had the offense early on, but then she started favoring the knee. And you saw during the picture-in-picture, she went to the doctor and complained about the knee, and you could see like she was selling it pretty much up to that point, and that was pretty much the effect of Riho coming back, was because she was selling all the time.
That happened during the picture-in-picture?
I guess you don't pay attention to that stuff, but stuff's happening, man, during that portion.
I'm not trying to pay attention to what's happening during the picture-in-picture. If it's not important enough to show on your main show, I'm not going to watch it in a little box during the commercials. I don't like that picture-in-picture stuff. And half the time, when I'm watching on TSN in Canada, stupid-ass, shitty TSN, JR's like, we're going to picture-in-picture. And then shitty TSN doesn't even go to picture-in-picture. They just give me stupid commercials. Garbage. Fucking TSN.
I feel that's when it's a tape show. When it's a tape show, they seem to never go to picture-in-picture. But that was live, so for whatever reason, live, they show the picture-in-picture. So we got lucky this week.
Yeah. Then we had Jade Cargill training in a basketball gym, just kind of hitting layups and shooting shots playing basketball. Didn't even look that impressive on the court. Shaq was there, former NBA player. He was just sitting on the bench. At one point, he stood up. He stood around. You didn't see Shaq running or moving in any kind of speedy way. He shot one free throw that he made somehow, which if you followed Shaq's NBA career, you know how rare that is. Was that a joke? He didn't slam the basketball. He probably can't anymore. Shaq looked terrible in that small piece. You're supposed to be showcasing Jade and Shaq for a match they're going to have in 2 weeks. And Shaq just looked like a fat old man watching an athletic Jade Cargill. Is that not how he didn't even look that big. Like, you couldn't tell how tall he was. He just looked fat and old. He had gray beard. He looked chubby as hell. He wasn't moving. He just sat there. I like Shaq Diesel as much as the Nux guy, but good God almighty, that did not do him any favors. Especially with a good portion of the audience that doesn't know who the fuck he is. If you're 15, do you know who Shaq is? If you're a 15-year-old wrestling fan, do you have any idea? Do you have any idea? I'll tell you what, if you're a 3-year-old wrestling fan, you have no clue. My son saw an Icy Hot commercial the other day. He goes, hey, that's the guy from AEW. He's very excited to see the guy from AEW. I'm like, yeah, that's Shaq. So he can't be the only one. For people of a certain generation, the kids out there, I'm sure like 20-year-olds are out there. They probably didn't see Shaq play in the NBA. When did Shaq retire from basketball? Right?
Well, it was many years ago, but despite that, he's still like been on TNT for the NBA
2011.
games.
Yeah, so you got to be a basketball fan to know that he's an NBA analyst who hasn't played basketball professionally in 10 years. He's barely relevant. And at this point, he just looks like Jade Cargill's dad. When they started this storyline, you thought Jade Cargill and Shaq maybe were in a romantic relationship. But after watching this vignette tonight, it just looked like Jade's dad was watching her do a basketball workout and then shot one shot because that's all he can still do. Didn't he seem like her dad in this one? Not her tag team partner. Womp womp.
Well, I mean, they're supposed to be training for a wrestling match, and it's like that's odd kind of training. I mean, it might be good cardio, but when you get in a wrestling ring, it's a totally different scenario. So, not the best kind of training, but Shaq's been in a ring before, so he won't be completely lost. He's been in WWE. It was a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He was in like some sort of battle royal. He was in Andre the Giant battle royal one time.
Yeah.
So, like, Shaq's actually been in a ring. He's done things. Not much. I'm not expecting great things from this match, but I actually think people will be interested because it's Shaq.
Maybe. Orange Cassidy beat Luther. I thought the match was good. You know, Luther jumped Orange before the bell. Pretty short match. Luther took a nasty powerbomb on the floor. That sound was just nasty. Orange hit the orange punch to get the pinfall. No problems with that. That was good. How about that sound of Luther?
Well, I found that he was just trying to prove himself right there. You know, he had a limited amount of time in that ring, so it's trying to make the best of his time right there, and I think he succeeded. I mean, it wasn't anything like overly spectacular, but it was still something decent.
It was the night of power bombs. Next, we had Taz and Brian Cage and Hook, Taz's son Hook, cutting an in-ring promo. Taz called out Sting. Sting showed up. Taz told Sting that he needs the bat. You need the bat, Sting. You're nowhere without that bat in your hand, the baseball bat. Sting then throws the bat down, takes off his jacket. Taz is like, oh, you're going to be a tough guy now? Sting's like, yeah. He attacks Brian Cage. Taz and Hook don't seem to know what to do as Brian's getting attacked. Hook goes for the bat, tries to choke Sting from behind, looked awkward as hell doing it. Sting grabbed the bat, kind of hit him in the gut. Hook drops. He's gone. That's all he's ready for at this point. Then Brian Cage, though, is able to get the advantage off the distraction from Hook, punches Sting, grabs him, lifts him up in the air, and power bombs him to death. Sting was murdered tonight by Brian Cage with a powerbomb. And they didn't even follow it up. They were just like, all right, we're going to leave Sting for dead. And Team Taz just walked away. They walked away because they knew that they had done their damage on Sting. He's dead. He's not going to make it to fucking Revolution in 2 weeks. Brian Cage, super muscles, just powerbombed him on like the back of, like the top of his back, the neck, everything. The crunch, the sound, the look on Sting's face. The look on Sting's face. Priceless. Also, is Sting's hair a different color in the front than it is in the back? Does he dye it in the front but not in the back? It looks super weird. But that powerbomb, man, that might be it for Sting. He's 61. He is 61. You are not supposed to take a powerbomb from Brian Cage with that kind of velocity at 61. Cage did not take it easy on him. He fucking planted him. Beautiful. I loved it.
It was quite a moment. And it was quite something to see Sting take a bump, the first bump he's taken in years. So that was a great test for him. Let's see if he can survive that, and what can he bring to the match now?
I don't know if he's going to make it to the match. Darby Allin, last week he got dragged by the back of a pickup truck. Who knows if he's back? They put him in a body bag. They dragged him in the back of a pickup truck. Taz said they took him to Tazland or whatever that is. I think he's dead. Sting this week, powerbomb straight to hell. What a bump. Oh, if Sting survived, I can't imagine what's going to happen to him in that street fight. I do not think Sting's going to have that many matches in AEW because he's 61. He's nearly a senior citizen. So Sting got, powerbomb tonight. Who knows? No medical update on Sting, but hey, no medical update on Darby Allin. Last time we saw him, he was in a body bag. Eddie Kingston cut a promo. I just want to talk about the bandana tied in front of his head, the football jersey, and the chain with the Joker from the Batman on it. Who is dressing you, man? What the hell is going on there, Eddie Kingston? Looking like... What was that movie with that guy, Jamie Kennedy, where he played like a rapper? You remember that? What was that? It was popular for a time.
I don't remember.
It was really bad. Malibu's Most Wanted. That's who he looks like to me. Malibu's Most Wanted. I mean, he just looks goofy with the bandana, the whole gimmick.
Well, you might not like his look, but he can talk on the mic, though, and they're always going to give him promo time because, that's his best qualities is talking.
I'll try to get you a picture of what I think he looks like. It's just ridiculous. The Joker chain. Why is he wearing a Joker chain? And what's with the bandana tied in front? This is what Eddie Kingston looks like to me. Malibu's Most Wanted. That's what this guy looks like. He just looks ridiculous. I don't have a picture of what Eddie Kingston looked like tonight, but good God almighty. Not good. The bandana tied in front like Tupac in 1994 is what? Why are you doing that? Who is still rocking the bandana with the thing? You look like J-Rock. You know what I mean? Looks like J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys. That's what Eddie Kingston reminds me of. Like this outdated rapper character from 2001. I don't understand what his gimmick is. Not good. Kenny Omega was with Don Callis and Michael Nakazawa at a preschool for some reason. Alex Marvez was there trying to get an interview. Not sure why. Kenny was there to read to the kids. Some of the kids were wearing masks. None of the adults in the room were wearing masks. Some kids were not wearing masks. I don't know what their COVID protocol was with all those children. I don't know why none of the adults in the room were wearing a mask, and some of the kids were. Seems like the kids might be more responsible than some of the stupid adults. However, I digress. Kenny read from the Young Bucks book about business going up drastically with Kenny in the main event in the Tokyo Dome in Japan, and the kids wanted to play with Kenny as he left, but Kenny offered him Nakazawa, and the kids hate Nakazawa, so they beat him up. And that was that segment. I'd say it was on par, pardon the pun, with the golf segment last week with Kenny. Not great. Kind of weird. I guess they're trying to get this Kenny character over. This he's very impressed with himself. He's trying to do the good things of what all a great wrestling champion should do, go and read to kids, but he's only doing it for the press and his ego and to, make himself look like a good guy. I get the character, but it's just our road to figuring out what that character is not super entertaining. I didn't really get anything out of this segment other than how come no adult is wearing a mask in that room? That was my only takeaway from that. Uh-oh, hold on. John, I lost you. I lost John's audio. Hold on a second. What the hell? Johnny, come back to me. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. I pretty much just said that I didn't quite get this one. Like, the golf one was kind of stupid, but this one was just like, it feels like Kenny's trying to be a role model, and he's just not really catching on, in my opinion. Like, it's just kind of boring, and the ending is just kind of silly because they don't know how to end this kind of stupid segment, and it's not great for a world champion. It's not like I want to see Kenny Omega more because of this, or like, man, I hate Kenny. I just think this is just ridiculous, and I'm surprised he's world champion with this. Like when Don Callis talks, that's great because like you can believe in that character. Like he really comes off with that whole jerk personality.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, I don't know what he's trying to sell to me. It just seems like he's like kind of trying to be goofy, but he's also trying to be like a Weasley kind of gimmick as well at the same time. But I'm not 100% sure because it doesn't seem like he's sure.
Yeah, like sometimes Kenny is a good guy a little bit and Don is just a bad influence, but sometimes Kenny is like a bad guy and he pretends like Don is the bad influence, right? Like it's not clear. Yeah. It's weird. Like it happened again here. Following segment, we have the same situation. Young Bucks beat Proud and Powerful. I thought the match was good. Matt rolled up Ortiz for the win. They defend the titles. Good match. Inner Circle come out after the match. They beat down the Bucks. Jericho and MJF have the Bucks in their submission holds. They beat them all up. Now Kenny, Don, and the Good Brothers were watching backstage. They see the whole beatdown happen. And Kenny seems to be the one who wants to go help his friends, the Young Bucks. Right? He's like, right. We got to go there. The Good Brothers are like, yeah, okay, maybe let's see what's going on. Don, what do you think? And Don's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then you cut back to the ring. The Good Brothers come out. They run off the Inner Circle. Kenny doesn't come out. So here you're like, okay, well, I don't understand. Is Kenny trying to help the Bucks? Is he still friends with the Bucks? Is he still a good guy to them? Or is he just pretending to be and using Don to make, Don seem like the bad guy? Because they don't seem like they're sure. And they drift between like, oh no, Kenny is really the bad guy. He's just pretending he's not by making Don seem like the bad guy. And then other times it's like, no. Kenny's a good guy. Don's just a bad influence. Kenny really loves the Bucks, and Don is trying to keep him away from them. It's very strange. And then, the Good Brothers come out, and they seem to just do whatever Don tells them to do. They seem to be working Kenny and the Bucks, but I'm not even sure if they're working Kenny, or Kenny and Don are working them. Who's working who? Like, it's very unclear, and that's why this story is like, it's not perfect, Like, I don't hate it. I'm interested in the Kenny character, but it's not clearly defined yet. And I'm waiting for it to become more clear and to understand who he is and why he is. But they're not getting there. And I wonder if they know. I think they know. I think they have a good idea, and we'll get there at some point. But they haven't got there yet. Kenny, Don, and the Good Brothers backstage. Eventually the Good Brothers come out. They run off the Inner Circle. Jericho got in the Young Bucks' father's face. The Young Bucks' parents were ringside watching the match. Jericho got into his face, and then Papa Buck pushed Jericho. MJF then threatened the Young Bucks' dad. So, we have a pay-per-view title match in 2 weeks between MJF, Jericho, and the Young Bucks. And, of course, the Inner Circle, MJF and Jericho, they're feuding with Sammy Guevara and each other. They just had a match with each other a couple weeks ago. Inner Circle's involved with their own thing. The Young Bucks, they're involved with the Kenny and Good Brothers and the whole Elite thing. Yet, at the pay-per-view, they're supposed to have this tag team title match. So, how do you create a reason for this match? No, you have Jericho get into their dad's face. Make it personal. Get a family member involved. Call the dad over. Get him down to ringside. and have Jericho get in his face, so then you have a personal attack while the Bucks were down. Chris Jericho and MJF threatened the Young Bucks' parents, and of course, you have to get revenge for that. It sets up a personal issue between Jericho and MJF and the Bucks for Revolution, which they need because at this point, there was no other reason for the Bucks to wrestle Jericho and MJF other than the tag team titles. Now at least there's like a reason for them to not like each other going into the match. Other than the history, between the Bucks, the Elite and the Inner Circle and all that, like, this was one of those matches where they weren't really feuding with each other, but now I guess they brought the dad in, so it's something.
Well, it adds a bit of heat to it, but they have enough history, and the fact that they're like pretty much four of the top stars in the federation, I think it almost sells itself. It's like people want to see what the Young Bucks would do against two of the top guys, and I think that match will be just good, just based on the fact that they're all talented individuals.
Yeah, I think the match will be good. But, yeah, there's no heat going into it. And, shoving the dad or the dad shoving Jericho didn't really add much heat to it for me. Cody and Brandy had their gender reveal on TV. Was this a shoot gender reveal?
I guess. Like, why would it not be?
I don't know. This is ridiculous. So it's a girl. They're having a girl. Was that for us or for them?
I guess for everybody. Right? Because apparently Cody didn't even know about it. So.
So it's for them. It's not for me. Like, I don't care. I mean, whatever. It's all nice and well and good and fine. I'm happy for Cody and Brandy. But do we have to have a gender reveal on Dynamite during Cody's entrance for when he comes out to do commentary for an FTR match? Like, what? I don't know. It was an odd moment in Dynamite. I'm telling you. If Triple H and Stephanie had done this, everybody would be burying them. But because it's Cody and Brandy, people are like, oh, it's so sweet. It's so nice. Like, come on. Really? It's on a wrestling show, people. Do you want to see this shit? I don't care. I don't want to see a gender reveal on a wrestling show. It's not why I watch wrestling, to see a gender reveal. I don't watch them when they're on YouTube. I don't watch them when they're on Facebook. I don't give a shit about gender reveals of people I don't know, especially people I don't know. I'm never going to meet this kid. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's not for fucking TV. If this was done by the WWE, people would be burying the shit out of this. I'm surprised more people aren't. Like, really? You're going to do a gender reveal on your TV show? Good God almighty.
It's all about your tastes, man. Like, I feel some people are actually very interested. Some people want to know everything about their favorite wrestlers. So
follow them on Twitter and Instagram. That's what Instagram's for. It doesn't have to be on goddamn Dynamite. It's a wrestling show. It's a 2-hour wrestling show. You have enough wrestlers on your show that don't get to work, that don't get to be on TV. I didn't see Johnny Hungy speak or wrestle, but I saw a fucking gender reveal.
No, you're still on the show. I mean, Brandy got to be on the show in some capacity, right? So.
All right, John, you motherfucker.
There you go. That was the reason.
Yeah. Brandy has to be on the show for some reason, even though she's pregnant and can't do anything. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe. When you subscribe, click that bell so you get notifications every time we are on. We are on after SmackDown every Friday night at 10 p.m. We're on after Raw every Monday night. We're on after Dynamite every Wednesday night. We're on tomorrow night once again for Ringside Report MMA. Coming up next week on Dynamite, it'll be Hangman Page versus Isaiah Cassidy, Ricky Starks and Brian Cage versus the Varsity Blondes, and Brandon Cutler versus Jake Hager. Ooh. FTR and Tully are going to wrestle Jurassic Express on the March 3rd Dynamite. Tully will wrestle. Why? How old is Tully? Is this the old guys wrestling hour or what?
It's a 6-man tag.
Is Tully younger than Sting? No. He's 67.
Well, there you go. It's not that bad.
Tully's Canadian?
Really? I didn't know that. Wow, Tully's Canadian? That's
Well,
awesome.
he grew up in Texas. He's a Texan, but he's born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I think because his dad was a wrestler, so maybe his dad was working the Stampede Calgary territory, and that's when Tully was born in, 1954? I don't know.
Well, he's like a lot of guys that, regardless if they're born in Canada, they'll still like play for like Team USA. Because, I mean, they were mainly born there. Like, Jericho was born in the States, but he lived in Canada, so he considers himself Canadian,
Yes. Tully, I don't think, considers himself Canadian, but his father, Joe Blanchard, played in the CFL and won a... Did he win a Grey Cup? No, they lost to the Argonauts in the 1952 Grey Cup. But he played his last season of football in 1954 for the Calgary Stampeders football team. And that's why Tully Blanchard was born in the year 1954 in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Tully, I had no idea, one of the great wrestlers out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Add Tully to the list of great wrestlers born in Calgary. Ooh.
It's a nice little fact.
There you go. And AJ says mature wrestling, Dave, because AJ's the same age as Tully and Sting. I see you on the chat, AJ.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's roughly the same age. He's like slightly older, but like not by much. I'm talking about AJ, older than Tully. So shout out to Douglas Hepburn. He wants a Johnny North shirt on the site. We're going to get those shirts up for you. Doug, Angelo as well. Patrick C. Hamilton, I see you. Derek John, appreciate you guys becoming members. Become a member of the team. Don't forget to sign up. Become a member on YouTube or become a member on Twitch and Facebook. You could just go to donate.ringsidereport.net and become a member right there. Donate.ringsidereport.net. Become a member. Become part of the team. You get priority in the chat. You get all access to everything. And we become good friends. That's how it works. I pay attention to you more. I like you more if you're a member of the team and you support the team and you keep us going and you help us continue to produce more and more content like we're doing here. A Wednesday night show with Dave and Johnny live on a Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? That's because of the members. So we appreciate you. Go to donate.ringsidereport.net. You can go to merch.ringsidereport.net as well. I will be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. for Ringside Report MMA. We're going to preview Curtis Blades versus Derek Lewis. Last week for the UFC pay-per-view, I went 5-0 on my picks for the main card. Completely undefeated, perfect record, 5-0. Super Dave giving you the winners, and I'm going to give you more winners tomorrow night. Tune in, 8 p.m., Ringside Report MMA. We're going to win some money for you. Go to bet99.com. You could sign up using that promo code RINGSIDE for a matching bonus of up to $600 when you make your first deposit. Go to bet99.com. Use that promo code RINGSIDE. Help yourself out. Help out the team. And pick up some winners for this Saturday in the UFC. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon. Don't forget to check out our website, ringsidereport.net. You can also check me out online on Instagram and Twitter at Dave Simon MMA. You can check out Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. Thanks, everybody. This has been the AEW Dynamite Recap, Exploding Barbed Wire Deathmatch Edition.
Thank you and good night.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Ringside Report started on the radio, added podcasts, and moved to video in 2019. Our hosts are not just fans, but have in-depth knowledge of the subjects. Become a member of our YouTube channel now and become a recurring supporter of our work as we strive to continue to entertain you in these strange times. Pro wrestler Johnny Genesis North joins lifelong wrestling fan and aficionado Dave Simon to host our pro wrestling programming with in-depth coverage of the WWE, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Our flagship show, Wrestling Uncensored, is live every Friday right after WWE SmackDown. Here, you get a review of the week that was. You may not agree with our host. In fact, they often don't agree with each other. But you have an opportunity to chime in with your viewpoint in the chat rooms while live or in the comments section of YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook on the replay. Dave and Johnny also headline our coverage of major pro wrestling pay-per-views and breaking news. Dave Simon is joined by experienced jiu-jitsu fighters Fred Garcia and the ever-unpredictable AJ DeLesio, each Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Ringside Report MMA. They try and foresee what's next in the octagon and review, argue, and kibitz in a very friendly, irreverent manner. The three guys also team up to accompany you on all the major UFC pay-per-views with entertaining watch-alongs. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.